So, setup-wise, decent. Just sometimes the handle gets back a little bit at setup there, so make sure the handle is a little bit more sort of towards that left side. This left-hand one was your before. Now, as I said, sometimes your feet get turned in a little bit. That's going to restrict sort of movement and mobility sort of through the hitting area, okay? The key thing is keeping this lead hip, as we said, on the wall. You can see when you go back here now, it sort of collapses off the wall quite a bit. As a result of your body not really turning, it's more kind of sliding. The arms have to bend, and then sort of as a result of your arms pulling back here, it kind of drags your lead shoulder behind, and we get this sort of over the top looking backswing, okay? And you moved a long way off that wall there in your backswing. Now, as your club starts coming back down, there's no real movement before that club moves, is there? Yeah, that club's moving before you started shifting, yeah? So now you're starting to shift towards that red line. By this point here now, you need to be on that red line, because what's going to happen now is that club starts coming down with some speed in this direction. Your body's going to get thrown backwards the other way. So you'll see it now as you come back into impact. As you start moving, your head now starts moving back up and away. So your left side, your head, so on my right shoulder there in the reflection, as you start coming through now, you move away from it. And you can see now your weight moving back onto your trail side, okay? Left hip, back shoulder sort of leaning back a little bit, not really getting onto the lead side. As a result, that club overtakes and the hook's going to probably come in. So you see fins and hook shots unless you try to manipulate the club. And the more you try to manipulate the club open, the more you're going to thin it, because you're going to take your lead hand and rise it up even more, so you're never going to get sort of consistent strike on the ground. So what you've got to feel from now, the camera moves a little bit when I go back on this, but the blue line sort of showcases where you ended up a little bit more onto your left side, okay? So go back here, wobble wobble. So a little bit of sway off the board, as I said, that's going to be something to practice from here now. But as the club starts moving, your hip is starting to go with your left knee, the Nike low is starting to move. It's moving a fraction earlier. Could it go earlier? Of course it could, yeah. But we wouldn't expect it to go from where it was not moving at all until the club started coming down to like be perfect. I say repetition and practice with this movement over and over is going to get you back there. So when you come back into impact here now, there's impact. You can see now you're a little bit more on that blue line, weight shifted a bit more towards your left side, and when you finish, the important thing for me, you're in balance a lot more. We didn't see any real shots where you fell forward, yeah? And you're falling forward because you've tilted this way, tried to get your weight forward with your top half, got steep, and now you're going over the top there. So if you can swing back and get that sort of pebble skimming or that sort of throwing skimming position where you get your right side working back behind you, that lead hip, as we say, so on top of the backswing, what we want to see would be you more kind of in that position with your spine angle here. So this hip's not kind of slid over. That lead hip is kind of moving, almost feel that your left butt's going towards the wall, yeah, which will get you more in that tilted position. It's going to get you more around here and able to shift a bit earlier rather than being here and trying to shift your top half. Because if you shift your top half early, you're over the top, and that's when you can have some problems, yeah. You can come down very, very steep, cross the ball, your hand actually be a pull hook, or you try and save it and it's a thinny, knifey one across the green. Okay, mate? So I would say if you can practice that movement up against the wall, practice that stepping drill. So when you do the stepping drill, this foot moves back to behind the ball. As you get to about here, your weight now would start going towards target, yeah? Now you can see on this one, obviously you continue to go back at the same time on this one. And then you're starting to move at the same sort of time, whereas this one, you sort of a little bit later. So if you think evolution of golf swing, it's moving the same. So it didn't move in time. Right hand one moving on at the same time. Next one moving a bit earlier, and so on and so on down the line. Okay, mate? Yeah. Good stuff.